What's up? This is Keith Kelfis with the Untrapped podcast coming live at you. Hey, we got the GIE Expo up literally right now. It's here. I hope that you're coming to the GIE Expo in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm so excited about this event because last year didn't even happen. It didn't happen. The anticipation is off the hook. So many people are going to be there. And if you've never been there, come to the GIE Expo. Before we get started, I just want to say that real quick. This could be the last chance to get your tickets. You can get them for half off through my link. Go to keithkelfis.com/resources and then scroll down to the GIE Expo tab, and then you get 50% off your tickets through my link. All right, let's get started. In this podcast, right now, I want to talk about, can you start a landscaping business in 2021? Is it too late in the season? Is it too saturated? Can you still start a landscaping business this late in the year? That's a very important thing. A lot of people who I find that watch my videos and listen to my podcasts, they're concerned about this going full-time thing, or you're still in a job. And I want to cover this right now. Very important. Before I get into that real quick, I just want to really quick promote these books. If you can't see this, go to the Untrapped Podcast YouTube channel, and then you can see this on video. But I'm holding up Paul Jameson's new book, Cut That Grass and Make That Cash. Paul is a good friend of mine, and he's got the #1 podcast in the green industry, the Green Industry Podcast. Great guy. Cut the grass and make that cash. And I also want to say, if you're getting started in this industry, in the green industry, and starting your own business, I wrote a couple books as well. The first book I wrote is How to Start a Landscaping Business Right Now with No Startup Money. You can go to audible.com and literally type in my name and listen to these books, or order them on paperback on Amazon, or go to keithkelfis.com. And this is a fun to read or fun to listen to book that'll totally get you motivated and help you take that leap in starting your own business. The next book I wrote here was the Window Cleaning Blueprint, because we have a window cleaning side of the business as well. Very powerful, but we're talking about landscaping right now.
More of the Untrapped podcast right after this.
This podcast episode has been brought to you by Lowe's. I'm very proud to announce that we have a new partner, and it is Lowe's, and I'm part of the Lowe's for Pros program and the Lowe's Pro Council. You can go inside of Lowe's whenever you go shopping for basically anything, but especially in your landscaping business. If you need tools, you can sign up at their Pro Desk, and they'll actually go and gather all the materials for you and get them ready for you. So when you show up, you just make a phone call, and then boom, you just pick it all up. You don't have to go around and shop for everything. They got fast shipping and delivery when you purchase things online too. I just got these new Husqvarna trimmers. I'm excited to use them and make a video about them. You'll be seeing more Lowe's content from me.
This is Untrapped with Keith Kelfis.
I wrote this book last year called Your First Year in the Landscaping Business, and man, I poured my heart into this book. I literally wrote the bulk of this book while driving back from Chicago. My phone, I was sitting in the passenger seat of my wife was actually driving. I'm like, you got to drive. I got to write this book. Like, it was pouring out of me. And I wrote something like 7 chapters, and I finished up all the rest. Anyways, you can listen to this audible.com. It's the Noble Guide to Overcoming the Stresses and Fears of Running a New Small Business. I'm telling you, if you're in your first year or two in the business, or you're just getting started, you have to listen to this book on audible.com. I promise you, it'll really propel your growth and get your business from 0 to the 6-figure mark, which is over $100,000 in gross revenue. Now, is it too late in the season in 2021 to start your business? I'm going to tell you right now, absolutely not. I started my landscaping business in 2011 out of the back of my wife's car because I didn't even have a truck in the middle of July. It was, man, I was posting ads on Craigslist and showing up to people's properties to pull their weeds, trim their shrubs, put in mulch, and I had to get the mulch delivered. Any refuse or like rubbish or debris, I had to literally buy Lowe's bags and put it inside of Lowe's bags and leave it at the customer's curb and hope they wouldn't get upset until I could afford to get a truck. And the funniest thing is, it took me 6 weeks to leave my job. So I started the business in somewhere around like June, May, the beginning of the year. Like, yeah, it was March or April. Yeah. I started doing these side jobs after work. But then I'm like, dude, I'm doing this. I'm going all in. Something snapped in my head when I got that first check from a customer, or a customer paid me cash what I would have made in 2 days working in my dead-end job, because I used to have like a lawn care and landscaping job. And I was forever changed. From the moment that switch hit in my brain that I'm doing this full time, it took me 6 weeks. So that 6-week period ended up in the middle of July. Now, I don't care when you're starting. If you've got the hustle and you've got grit and you've got fire in your eyes, there's something about the hustle. When you are on fire and you have what I call a positive expectancy, that means you have an expectancy for something good to happen, and it's positive. Like, hey, what you got for me? Let's go. I'm ready to hustle. Come on. I got this. I'm your guy. When you show up on people's properties like that, or you're picking up the phone and you're calling people and you're making things happen, there's no way that people are going to tell you no. I almost wish I still had that. And I do have that at times. We all do. But I mean, when you first get started, it's the most important. You can drum up so much work. And especially with the environment that's going on right now in our world and the economic situation, we have like 5 times the amount of customers than we have contractors to do the work. It's a weird situation that we're in. So if you're trying to be your own contractor, now is the time. In economically weird and hard times, you can start and take off like a rocket ship. Right now is the best time to start. Not next spring, not next year, not in 2 years, not when you get the money, not when you can get a loan or any of those. Just go out and start doing something and you'll get it off the ground fast. Like, there are people that started in economic recessions, their businesses throughout history. You can just get in at the ground level, and then when the economy turns around and takes off, I mean, or the rising tide raises all boats.
More of the Untrapped podcast continues right after this.
Jill's office provides friendly, professional receptionists for small business owners just like you. We can help answer your calls, and we can even schedule estimates and jobs for you. Try Jill's office today and get a $25 discount when you say Untrapped. Just go to jillsoffice.com.
And once again, here's your host, Keith Kalfas.
So I just wanted to touch on that. I wanted to encourage you and tell you that you can do this. You know, in a few weeks here from now is the Launchpreneur Academy with Brian Fullerton. And he's been throwing this event every year. And I met a guy there a couple years ago, came up to me, and he was asking me, he was nervous. He had a wife and kids and a good job, and he wanted to start his own landscaping business. I talked to him for a little bit. And then I took him around, and I think Chant's Daily Hustle was there. I'm like, Chant, you got to talk to this guy too. And the guy was basically borrowing the confidence from us because we had already made the leap. Bro, I talked to him on the phone less than a year later. This is one of many stories. And he had gone full time. He already did $12,000 that month in his business. He already made the purchase of a Dingo machine, and he was so happy, and he put in his resignation and he quit his job. And it's like, there's just no way you're not going to make it happen. If you're afraid you're not going to get the work, that should be like the least of your fears, right? I don't know what you're doing for a job or what you're doing, or if you're trying to take your business full time, but I was almost about to say it's easy. It's actually not easy at all. It's very, very hard getting your own small business off the ground and getting it fully sustainable. Because you got to get the equipment, you got to get money in the bank, you got to get insurance, you got to get an accountant, you got to pay taxes, you got to deal with these customers. The learning curve makes it feel like it's incredibly hard while you're doing all the work. Because when you first start the business, you got 3 stages. There's stage level 1, right? Stage 1 is when you're out there doing it all by yourself. It's very hard because you're wearing all the hats. Stage 2 is where you have a couple employees and you're still working your tail off, but you got a couple employees doing the bulk of the labor work or the grunt work, whatever you want to call it, but you're still working your tail off. Stage 3 is where you're out of the field and you're running the business and doing sales, and then you have people doing the work. You got people in the office. Stage 4 is where you're totally out of all that and you're out of the business, right? You have other people doing it for you, and very few people ever hit that level. But I want to say what stage 1 is where you're at right now. It's very hard to market and advertise the work, pick up the phone when the phone's ringing, go and sell all the work and prepare the paperwork, the invoices, all that stuff, and then go and perform all the work and then do all the maintenance and keep that thing rolling. I mean, that's really hard. But the interesting thing is the sooner you jump in the game and the sooner that you realize if it's meant to be, it's up to me. It's like this wind comes under your wings and you take flight. and it just lifts you up. And next thing you know, you feel like you're flying over the mountains and like an eagle or something. You just have this little tiny business, yet you feel this sense of freedom that nothing else in your life has ever compared to this type of feeling. This is different. This is freedom. I feel like I'm flying right now, like it's just happening. And I get this YouTube video. It's like one of my famous videos where at the end of the video, let me know if you saw this, I was like screaming and crying, saying, you can do this, you got this. Because I looked in my piece of shit Blue Goose truck when I was driving home after 6 weeks. I was in the Blue Goose truck that I got, and there was rust all over it. It was a 1992 Dodge Dakota with like 260,000 miles on it, and there was a big crack in the windshield, and it was like 7 p.m. No. It was 10 a.m. Saturday morning, I think, and I was driving one of my first landscape jobs of being fully independent. I mean, I went full time. It was just me. I was scared shitless in that little tiny truck. And there's the crack in the windshield. And all of a sudden, the clouds parted and the sun shined through the windshield of that truck onto me. And all of a sudden, my eyes filled up with tears and I had goosebumps. And I realized that I was free. It didn't matter that I was in a piece of crap little truck with rust all over it. It didn't matter that I was already like 28 or 29 years old. Nothing mattered in the world of what anybody else thought of me. All of my previous low self-esteem, all that stuff. Like nobody could say anything to me because one success erases all past failures. That's all it takes is one success. And that feeling when you took the leap, man, and you cut the rope. And what happens is when you take that leap and you cut the rope, it ignites a fire underneath you where all of a sudden things just start lining up for you. All these new opportunities. I've watched this happen way too many times in my life. Like I got 2 businesses, the landscaping business and a media business, and both of them do 6 figures now. And there's times where it's stressful, it's scary, it's a whole lot of work. But there's a feeling when you take a leap and you pull the trigger and you jump out and do something that you're afraid of because you don't know what's going to happen. Like you don't know if you're going to fail. But when you actually take the leap and you cut the rope and you're at the point of, like you cross the Rubicon, that means the point of no return.
Keith returns right after this short break. Hey, if you're looking for what is probably the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, even track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. And if you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, type in getjobber.com/Keith, and if after the trial you decide you want to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith. And now here's Keith Kalfas.
When you cross the Rubicon, you can't go back. When you cross that thing, all of a sudden, now that you know your back's up against the wall, that's when you, like the afterburners kick on and you become on fire. Now you're, instead of like, your foot comes off the brake and hits the fucking gas, dude. And this thing comes up inside of you. It's like throwing gas on a fire. Your foot comes off the brake and hits the fucking gas. And you take off, bro. Then you show up to a live event, GIE Expo, or you get around one of these, Paul Jameson guy, or any of these guys, you come to the Entrepreneur Academy. I might be throwing my event, the Marketing ROI. I'll let you know about it. But anyways, you get around a group of your peers next year, and now your business is full-time, and they're like, oh, man, you did it. Congratulations. And then you'll be talking to some other guy, and they're afraid to start their business, or they're afraid to go full-time. And they'll be like, it's the middle of August or September or October. I don't think I can do it. It's too late. And you're like, bro, I started my business in November, the last month of the year. Well, you can work some of December. We started doing fall cleanups. It doesn't matter, man. You just got to start now and get out there and get it. And if you don't start it and you don't do it next year or the next year and you never do it, nobody cares. You got to set yourself on fire. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up right here. Thanks for spending this time with me. I hope that I meet you in person and shake your hand at one of these live events, and you can tell me your story, and I'd be very happy to meet you. In the meantime, I've got an article about going full-time, keithkalfas.com/blog. Check it out. I'm going to wrap up this podcast. Go to Keith Kalfa's Untrapped podcast on Apple Podcasts, and please leave the show a well-worded positive 5-star review. It helps boost the rankings of the show. I really, really appreciate it. Hit me up on YouTube, Instagram at Keith Kalfas, and I can't wait to hear about your success, and I'll see you soon.